gotta walk the talk and sing the rhyme. Confidence so heavy it stops time. Eyes on the prize, yeah, that's the line.
Welcome to the Speak Like the Boss podcast. I'm Anthony. This is Chase. How we doing this week?
It's been a heck of a week, man.
What do we got? What's new?
This is probably the first week that in a while that I've consistently been able to go to the gym, 5 days a week.
Okay.
And it'll be 6 tomorrow for sure.
Good.
I know I've told you this,
Yeah.
but my knee has been killing me, and I couldn't figure out what was going on with it.
Right.
And I didn't want to go see, I have to pay to go to my doctor and then get a referral and then pay to go see a specialist and then pay $1,000 for them to put me through, therapy for a couple weeks on something that's probably super simple.
Sure.
But I figured it out, I don't have a bum knee anymore, so I've been able to consistently stay in the gym, no swelling, no pain, it's fantastic.
Back to it.
So, yeah, back to it, man.
Good.
Little extra motivation. I haven't been on a scale in a while, and my mom had a scale.
Okay.
So, for anyone who is listening out there who feels like, they might be in the shitter, big 200, man.
Big 200.
Big 200.
You broke it. And
I
just
got
for
on the
context,
scale.
what is your height for the audience?
I am 5'8".
5'8" and 200 pounds.
That's
It's big boy.
I try not to cuss. That's freaking big.
Big boy. Big boy
Freaking
status.
big. I gotta lose at least 30 pounds.
As somebody I know says, big boy round back.
But yeah. I gotta lose at least 30 pounds.
Big boy round back.
I got on that scale and I was like, damn. And that was my immediate reaction. My mom, she was like, what? I was like,
I feel like I ate Chase.
yeah, man. Seriously, last year before I started having knee issues, I was 165, 29-inch waist, freaking solid.
Okay.
Not that 165 is heavy,
It's little. You're a little guy.
I'm a smaller guy. Thanks for reminding
Little body,
me.
yeah.
But yeah, y'all, it happens. it freaking happens.
It happens to all of us. Age.
I'm slim thickums right now.
Slim thickums.
The only problem is that it all freaking sits right here.
This is part of the motivation of the podcast,
Yes.
is right to get ourselves back to where we need to be,
Yes.
because we've gotten lazy, like everybody does at some point.
Yes.
And, it's good motivation to speak about it every week with the viewers, and then
Yes.
reflect on our own self-image too,
Yes.
because we can't preach the word without living it, right?
Yes.
So
This is, and I kind of like talking about it on here because it'll help keep me
keep you honest.
honest. Yeah,
That's true.
So
we can do weekly weight updates.
we can. I'm down with that.
Come in and tell us
Yeah.
where you're at, and maybe
Yeah.
break out Tara's scale and see.
Yeah, I need to either get some calipers or we need to do a DEXA scan once a month too.
Okay. Something see where you're at.
Calipers. I think using calipers is still considered to be more accurate, but
Right.
I mean,
Didn't they have a way to do body weight measurements and body mass with water, sitting in a tank and
they do, but that might
expensive.
That might cost money.
we don't want to cost money.
Yeah. So anybody in the comments, y'all want to flame us a little bit? That'll motivate me. So,
Add in the comments, Chase is fat, and then
Yeah.
we'll motivate him to get back to the gym.
I'm trying not to drop the F-bomb. Freaking fat.
Freaking fat.
Freaking fat. Tub of lard. But you know what? I'm in the gym. I'm lifting. I feel good. I can already tell, my chest and my back's puffing up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's what you need.
We'll see what happens. If it's like last time, of course I'm a little bit older now. Not that I'm 31. I'm not that old, but old enough. I'm over the hump. I'm on the decline.
Yeah.
Officially, right? So we'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for 3 months, and if I'm not able to get down to where I need to or where I'm comfortable,
Then we're just gonna cut it off.
well, that makes it sound. You go like this, that
You gotta-
seems like something else.
You got 30 pounds somewhere. We got to get rid of it.
Yeah, I'll probably hit up a nutritionist again and be like, hey, here's whatever you need.
Yeah.
Draw up a diet plan, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. On a somewhat serious note for a second, one of the things I had to start off today's show was, this was not part of the original plan for today's show, but I seen this morning or yesterday, and decided to throw it in because it kind of relates to what we talk about. So this is an actual person that I know. You've met them, I believe, last week. I have them on Snapchat. I hope he doesn't see it and feel some type of way with me sharing his information. But he posted, "I remember all of it, all the crushes I ever had since the second grade, all the romantic feelings I felt, and how those crushes burned to the ground. I remember how I was rejected and how I reacted. I threw romance away from my life because once upon a time, it made me want to throw away my life."
Wow.
So
Wow.
just to give context, take that in for a second. That was posted probably to, I'd say, 1,000 people that he has on Snapchat. This man has a lot of people on there.
He's older too, right? He's like our age?
He's
he
he's
younger?
your age. He's closer to your age.
Okay.
Okay. He
He
has mild autism.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense on why he would put on social media then.
Right. And that's one of the topics I have for a different time, a different episode, is a little bit more of social media expectations, what to post, what not to post.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get your take on that first for today.
So my thing is that if I'm doing something, if I'm going to post something like that, like I'm close to the end, right? Like I'm just...
That's a cry for help.
Right. Well, the problem is, like, I feel like anyone my age or a little younger, we were still figuring out the world when social media came out and people started doing that kind of stuff, right? So it's natural, I think, for my generation and younger to share everything on social media, on the internet. Mm-hmm. So when I hear that, that's my first, well, my knee-jerk reaction is that's a cry for help. Because me personally, I've kind of learned that I don't like sharing. I'd rather just not post anything on social media.
And I'm the same way. I leave it alone.
It's literally there for looks and so
as I talked about in the last episode, as somebody who just recently seen a friend pass away from similar issues last year.
It sounds like a cry for help.
I posted. I sent a message to him. I'm gonna read that to you so you know what the deal is. So I said, "I hate that for you, man. If you ever want to talk about it, I'm all ears. Don't want any guys doing something drastic over a woman. Keep your head up and stay strong."
Yeah.
And then he said, "Doing my best." That was what I got from him.
That's such a terrible response. I don't know if that's like him saying like he wants you to continue to reach back out, because I mean, people can say all they want that, you know, we live in a society where people want, not people, but this is a dating podcast, right? So we'll throw the W word out there. We'll say women want us to be more open and things like that. But in my experience, it's always received poorly. Correct. You know, so maybe that's his way of kind of trying to pull back or retract a little bit, you know, or kind of hide that.
Knowing the guy for as long as I have, and I'm not saying we're close, but he's an acquaintance that I've seen fairly regularly, and I do get updates throughout his life because of Snapchat and the like, right? Internet updates. So I know him as a person as being someone who is... He is what we talked about last time as like kind of delusional, thinking that he can be the traditional romantic, and he's confused on why it's being received poorly. He's come to the exception that is just how it is, and that's why he's closing himself off from love and relationships, etc. Right? But I've never seen him blame his disability for it. But I do see his body mannerisms and his reactions are not what you would expect from a normal, sane person. You know what I mean? Somebody without a deficiency. So he does react poorly when he gets shot down or told no or whatever. And I understand that a lot of the time he's just looking for a genuine connection, but he has zero skill set in taking that further. Like, even when he gets a yes to dance with a lady or something of that nature, it's always, that's the end of the line. You're in the friend zone after that. Like, it doesn't ever go further. He'll never be able to get a date. He'll never be able to go anywhere after that point, because they immediately, and let's take a step back from him and make it a fair reaction. If a woman with a mental disability, even though minor, came up to one of us when we were single, and said,
Yeah, I'm single.
and asked anything about taking us out on a date or going somewhere or doing something, or even tried to flirt, would we immediately disqualify them from long-term relationship just because we can read the fact that we don't want a liability in our lives?
What kind of mental disability is it? That's my question.
Well, minor, to the point where they're
like-
still fully functioning. They
so
can
like-
write an articulate sentence like that, like I just read. You know what I mean?
Right, but people with BPD can write articulate sentences like that too. And quite honestly,
I would say it's,
I have been there. I don't want to go back to that.
it's emotional disability, I would say, is probably what it is. Emotional responses and obliviousness to your own social interactions, like body mechanics, walking a little funny, doing motions that are a little exaggerated. You know what I mean? Those kind of, where you're in your own bubble and don't see what you're doing incorrectly, and you're not trying to fit into the norm of societal construct, I guess.
I think most men would agree. If you don't, let me know in the comments. But I think most men would agree. That's not really an issue when it comes to women. I mean, if she's a little awkward, or, you know, she doesn't understand social cues, so she might make an offbeat comment. I mean, to me, that's just funny. It's not, you know,
Almost endearing, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
right.
You know, you're getting their genuine, authentic self.
Now, here's the follow-up question. Is it because women are looking for a superior and a protector, and this person can no longer provide that role with their deficiency?
I think in his particular case,
Yeah.
that's like comparing apples to oranges, and I'll kind of explain why.
Okay.
Generally speaking, men are expected to be provisioners and providers. I know we live in the 21st century and we got the independent boss bitch, you know, I don't need no man, whatever. Mm-hmm. That don't mean shit when it comes to actually like being with somebody. Like, you're right. Like, you know, women.
Somewhere in your monkey code,
Women like to
still
be
look
taken
for
care
that.
of. Yes, they like to be pampered. They
Yeah.
want, you know, you can be, and women are typically the lives of the party, right? They're the social butterflies. They're the ones who put on parties. They're the ones, you know, if you were to have a gathering over here, you know, your lady would be like, oh, you know, I need to clean. We need to get this. She's got it down packed. Like you have to do what she tells you she wants you to do, but she's the mastermind when it comes to that kind of stuff, right? You look at my little brother. My little brother, he's a little more calm than I am, I would say.
Okay.
But for the most part, he's got that same gift where he can step into a crowd and interact with people and, you know, kind of give and take, being the center of attention and have a good time and be the life of the party, for lack of a better way to put it right now.
That's just a personality trait, right?
Right.
For certain people.
Men don't need that. He can work on himself in other ways and find out what he is good at. And I know I'm kind of might be jumping ahead a little here, but like,
Yeah.
and we can come back to it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to be the social butterfly. He can be the strong, stoic, silent type that
What if
sits
that's
in the
his
corner.
personality?
Then he has to lean into it.
Yeah.
He's got to learn to lean into it. Let the awkwardness flow naturally.
He's not a masculine dude by any sense of the word. You know
well-
what I mean? He's not walking around with muscles or going to the gym.
Oh,
or
he might need to go to the gym.
I mean, that It's a good point. I mean, I think everybody, all men should.
Yes, absolutely. Especially if you're like me, you know, short kings. I freaking hate that so much. You got to get in the gym.
Yeah.
You are scraping the bottom of the barrel, if not. I mean, if you genuinely want to be able to walk up to just about any woman and have a good shot, you have got to get in the gym. Another reason why I'm kind of a little fat right now is because I just haven't cared for the last, year or two. I've just been in a position where it's just not something I want to entertain. It's been recently. I'm like, yeah, let's get back out there. But
Yeah. Yeah.
y'all got to get in the gym.
Yep. I agree. Well, with that being said, let's jump into the topics because I know that's part of kind of what we're talking about
that
here today.
segue into kind of what we're going on first about. So,
Self-confidence is my first one. So, just general techniques to boost your self-esteem and self-worth.
get in the gym. Get in the freaking gym. You don't even have to have a six-pack. If you're a bigger dude, freaking rock it. There are women who love that teddy bear look. Just get you some, good-looking arms, a big chest, nice back, nice legs. Yeah, but you can lean out.
I could lean out.
Freaking
teddy bear.
Women love that shit. And especially if you're not super short, like, it ain't gonna matter. It ain't gonna matter.
Yeah. That's definitely a good point because self-confidence, it derives from not how others appear of you, like their appearance of you.
Their impression of you.
That's the word I was looking for. Impression of you, but how you feel about yourself.
Yes.
If you're the best version of yourself, the confidence will be there.
Yes.
Even
It's
if you still look worse or feel worse or smell worse or any of the things than 6 guys around you, if you know that you're 10 times better than you were yesterday or a week ago, you're still going to have far more confidence than you would have had a week ago.
Or at least just like you said, the guys around you like on par or better than, at least as far as appearances go. Yeah, that does a lot. Man, I don't know if you still do this, and I'm not looking for a fight these days, but
Okay.
every time I go somewhere, I size everybody up in the room. I can whip him. I look better than him. Yeah,
That's a natural, I think,
Maybe that's
man
narcissistic,
response. No, I think that's just a men thing. If you have testosterone and you're kind of have some semblance of an alpha mentality, I think you do that. Because especially, I've noticed maybe a personality flaw in myself, I will admit. I do that when I don't feel at my best or my most confident. I resort to, well, at least I could kill everybody in this room.
I definitely think that's a coping mechanism because I've done the same thing.
Yeah, I might not have just got the girl, but if I really needed to and we resorted to caveman days, I dragged 6 back to my cave.
Yes, exactly.
Because I'm the biggest, strongest guy in the room.
Yeah, I've already, we've already thrown my stats out there. I'm a short guy. If
Yeah.
I can reach your face and you do not have, what's the word I'm looking for? A comprehensive martial arts background or like a background in like killing people.
Or trained at any point.
You better hope that you're big enough that I just don't care.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it for
Yeah.
me because like if you step up, I have full confidence and
and you're going to get it done.
yeah.
So some of the notes that I had towards self-confidence, things we can improve is clothing. I think every man, all the men need to fully analyze what they dress. And this is something that I do with my coaching when I'm first kind of assessing somebody is if you don't have a dress style, if you're just wearing whatever clothes you have in your closet and you don't have specific going out clothes, let's formulate 2 to 3 outfits. And what I would tell you to do is go on YouTube, type in men's fashion, and find a style that fits you. Because even if it's a biker look, if it's a GQ model look, if it's the polo shirts, if it's the button-down shirts, if it's the rocker look, whatever that look is that you find attractive, because as men, even though no homo, we all look at other men and we can assess when a guy is a good-looking guy. So if you can admit that to yourself and say, oh, that's a good-looking guy, he's got his shit together, he probably gets women, and that's the style you want to emulate, then let's build that style. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's the best style in the world, But if it makes you more confident in it, that's the win.
But okay, so I have this problem.
Okay.
Now, I mean, I feel like if I need to clean up, I'll clean up, right?
Sure.
Like I can look pretty decent.
Okay.
But I have fought with specifically 1X in general.
Okay.
1X about the way I dress normally,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and what's nice to me might not be nice to other women.
Correct.
Right. And I've changed a little bit. I've adapted. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I get compliments these days on, you know, what I just think it's something basic, like what I'm wearing right now. You know,
Okay.
I really like this shirt. It's a decent shirt. You know,
Right.
I've had plenty of compliments, you know, from women wearing this shirt, and you
Sure.
know, oh, you look nice. I like the way you look.
Yeah.
How do you keep from becoming somebody you're not? How do you keep?
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you find kind of that medium, that in between? Because
That's
I'm
a good
telling
question.
you, it's just natural for me. Not that I look good naturally. I'm not saying that,
Right.
but like to step into something new, something different,
Yeah.
to transform yourself but still be authentic, at least in terms of your style.
Sure. So there's a couple of answers to that. One being, you have to understand that whatever your outward appearance is not going to be everybody's style. Everybody's
Right.
not going to.
I agree, 1000%.
Right. It doesn't matter if you dress like you want to go ride on a motorcycle and go to a country bar. You're probably not going to fit in. It's just what it is, right?
Well, it's kind of like when we, I'm not going to say where, but like when we went out last week,
Yeah.
you know, how it probably took like an hour for me to feel okay, just because I'm used to dressing like that when I need to go out
Yeah.
and do stuff. And we didn't look like that at all. And that was kind of awkward for me.
Here's what I'll give you a personal example. I have been in that situation where I have purchased clothes that I know look good on me. And not only because of the style that I have chosen, but I dress to your body as well. So if you are a little overweight, don't get skin tight clothing.
No,
right?
don't
There
look
are
like me right now.
certain structures of things that you should be buying and not buying based on what you should be wearing and for your body type, right? You see the girls with the cross belly shirts and their belly buttons hanging out and they've got like 7 Dunlaps. It's
That does not look good. That does not look good. And
So-
you do not need to feel bad telling a woman. Well, if she asks, don't be afraid to
yeah,
tell
I don't
her.
go
Be
out of
like,
my way to hurt anybody's feelings.
no, but like if she asks and she wants her opinion, don't lie to her. That
That's
ain't
never
doing
good.
it. That ain't getting it done.
But to answer your question and get back to it, you asked, what if they don't like it, right?
Not really. What if they don't like it? But how do you keep from?
Becoming something that you're not.
Yeah, because and what I mean by that is I don't want to portray. So like, yes, I can dress up and I can wear super nice clothing, but like that's not me, you know. And some girls really care about that. So
Right.
So I don't want to end up in another situation where I'm like with a girl who's constantly complaining and bitching about what I'm wearing on a consistent
That gets me back to
basis.
my point. So I was in a similar situation, or I've even recently, where I dress a certain way to go to a certain place or an event, and then I get questions, is that what you're wearing, right? Because a lot of women are going to have a almost like the GQ model look as their, this is what looks good.
I agree with that.
Most people will
agree with
say
that.
button up, trousers, dress shoes, right? And most of that is the generic I look good look. But a lot of guys can't pull that off unless their body's right. They're, you know what I mean? They got the right haircut, they got the right everything going on.
Yeah,
You know, otherwise you're just going to look
100%.
sloppy if the
Yeah.
shirt's too baggy for you and it's untucked constantly, or
I have that
overlapping.
issue so bad with shirts where
Yeah.
like I honestly, it's probably in my best interest to get every dress shirt I would ever buy. It's going to have to be tailored.
And I have that same issue with pants. I'm like, the length is like a 33 is what I need, and 30.
Damn, really?
And like 32s are just a little too short, and 34s are way too baggy,
I'm
and they
like
just don't
that,
make
yeah.
33s. So it's
I know.
you're
I'm the
just
same way. I need
this
a
weird
I
in
need like
betweener.
I need like a 31. So
Yeah. So yeah, I think the biggest thing with the people that you have around you is you either have to just tell them that they're wrong, because it at the end of the day, it's what's going to make you feel good, because your overall performance and your charisma that night is going to be based on if you look good. So really, you should have a girlfriend in this instance, or a female, that's telling you, damn, baby, you look good. And it's not necessarily the style and becoming what you're not. It's, go back to what I said earlier, is find the style that works for you. Because at the end of the day, every guy should have a dress down style and a dress up style.
Yes, I agree.
Right? Regardless of what that dress up style looks like, you should have it. Because at some point in your life, you're going to go to special events. You're going to go to weddings. You're going to go out to dates. You're going to go out to nice dinners. You're going to go to birthday dinners. You're going to go somewhere. Even if you're not in the dating market, you're going to go to something where you have to look presentable. And even job interviews, right? What do you wear? So at some point, have those clothes on hand and find something that works for you. And I'm not saying dress like $1 million every time you go out of the house. I don't dress up in button-up shirts every time I leave to go to the bars or wherever we're going to go.
Hell no.
I just wear a T-shirt 90% of the time.
Yeah.
But I put it all together with accessories and jewelry and necklace and things of that nature, the right shoes, to make it look like I put effort into my outfit for the night.
Yes.
And that's the key.
And that was my
Because
follow-up
that
was
is
gonna
going
be.
to give you the confidence that you need to perform that night.
Yes, make it look like, make it so that people can tell that you put in effort
Yes.
to what you're wearing. That to me is what's important.
Right. Yep. 100%. So just going into the rest of the things, we talked about clothing. The haircut is obviously important. So if you are that scruffy guy and you have not cut your hair properly in a long time, or your beard is very unkempt and just scraggly and you look like a homeless person that just crawled from under the bridge, I would highly suggest taking care of those things and figuring out a way to groom yourself that you're still happy with your appearance, but you also give an appearance of a professionalism. Professionalism is realistically the key. So, and then the last one is cologne. Cologne goes a long way, especially with women and the right, smells. So do some research on that, on what, which ones you like. A lot of times, if you are unsure of a smell, let's say you do some research. You find 5 colognes that people are hyping up online saying, this one attracts all the ladies and their endorphins and their all the fancy words that they use to make it sound like you're just going to get 1,000 girls spread legal on the bed tonight.
It's all bullshit.
Yeah,
Just
it
find
is.
something that you think smells all right and you feel comfortable in.
So in order to do that, I was going to say is they sell small sample bottles usually on Amazon and
Yes.
places now. You can try them out relatively cheap for under $10 and just see if
Well,
it's something you like.
There's going to be a department store at your local mall. Go
That
to the
too.
local mall.
You
Those
can do that
ladies,
too.
those old ladies in there, they will put all kinds of shit on you and be like, "Oh, I like this. I don't like that." You know?
But that makes a lot of men uncomfortable, especially our target audience, probably. You know what I mean? Like, these are the people who may not be going out that much. I personally would rather, me personally, even a social person, would rather go and order them on Amazon and have them and try them myself than have some lady in the mall spray me and tell me I smell good that's 60 years old.
Okay, but so a few things on that.
Yeah.
One, we're talking about making yourself better, putting yourself in situations that you can be more comfortable with.
Yes.
Being around more people, I think, will naturally help you. And I might be getting a little ahead of what we're talking about.
It
but
can, but what about the fact of having to sort through the fact that you're dealing with a salesperson that may be trying to upsell you on some nonsense, or she's got special promotions that she's trying to push and it's not actually the best.
do your research, find
Yeah.
a price point that
Yeah.
you're comfortable with, and then we'll be like, hey, I want to, you just go up to them and be like, this is my price point. And you'd be like, if you could help me sample some smells, you're going to end up wasting more money than that anyway. If you just do, I mean, not that what you're saying is wrong,
Right.
but you're going to spend more money trying to find something that you want online as opposed to going somewhere and figuring out. Or ask a woman in your life, be like, what do you think smells good on men?
Yeah.
That's you don't even have to go anywhere. Easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, I do want to talk about this.
Okay.
I don't wear cologne.
You don't wear cologne at all.
I don't wear cologne. I've
Interesting.
never worn cologne. And honestly,
Are you open to a test run?
what do you mean? Yeah, but like, yeah, I am. But like,
Okay. So we were supposed to go out tonight, maybe
Still
just
are.
for some work,
Still
right?
are,
Purposes. But I have probably 6 or 7 colognes in there. we'll obviously wear something different because we don't want to smell the same. But let me go through a couple with you and figure out which one of them that you enjoy, and we'll try it and see if you feel better or worse or get less or more attention.
So here's the thing.
Yes.
No, I don't have an issue with wearing cologne.
Okay.
I have an issue with having to constantly buy that shit. Now I know one bottle will last you
It lasts
a long ass time.
Long.
Like the,
2+ years at
yes,
least. More.
at least. If
Depending on
you're
what you're
going
going
through cologne that quick, you might be a little.
Every bottle that I've had for probably 5+ years at this
Yes,
point. It's
yes,
a long time.
Yes, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
But honestly, so like what I've always been told by women is you either need to smell good or have really not have a smell. And I have always gravitated more to really not having a smell. And I have been told by dozens of women that my natural smell is good. You can get a nice soap. Like I use
Yeah,
like,
but you're not going to smell that unless they're close already.
right, but they're not gonna I don't want to gas them out with cologne.
But let's
either.
talk about what we talked about last time, attraction triggers. Remember when you were talking about your hairstyle that changed and it automatically the girl just fell in love with you and she never even noticed you existed before?
Yeah.
Right? Similar thing with scents. If a girl smells a scent that is either appealing or has smelt before and has fond memories of, she'll immediately be more curious to talk to you because of it.
I'm not
It's just one of the
saying-
5 senses, just like everything else.
And I'm not
right?
saying you're wrong. I'm just saying
Yeah.
there is now. This isn't for every guy out there. Like if you freaking stink, put some goddamn cologne.
Wash your ass first
Yes,
before you
wash
go
your-
out. But
Wash your balls. You
Yeah.
know. But what I'm saying is, I have had girls get closer to me because they were trying to smell me, right? Because and then they were like, "Ooh, you know, like you have a good natural smell." Like I might be airing too much out here, but I use I can't remember exactly what it's called, but
what's the point?
I got it. Well, we're not doing an ad. You know? if any body wash dealers out there want to hit us up for a sponsorship, just let us know.
I don't mind a good watch. That's true.
Anyway, so what I'm getting at is like right now I use a soap. It's antibacterial, but most of the ingredients are natural things. And I found this when I started fighting because one, bacteria is a bitch, you know, makes you reek.
Yep.
Especially if you can't control and you're wrestling with other people who are nasty as sin.
Yeah.
Two,
Staph infection, everything else
yes.
comes with it, right?
Two, I've never told you this, but a few years ago, I started having a horrible outbreak to deodorant. And I got to where I literally couldn't wear deodorant without breaking out in hives. Now, I found like the most basic, bare bones, bare minimum, you know, whatever deodorant, and I'll just put like, if I'm like when we go out tonight, I mean, I've got some on right now too, but
Okay.
like when we go out, I'll do like one swipe under each armpit, and
Okay.
that's
That's
it,
it.
right?
Okay.
Non-scented, you know, I literally made it to where there's nothing that can mess me up. But this soap smells fantastic. It gets rid of the bacteria, which is what causes the smell. And it's got really good natural, like coconut and mint scents to it, right? So, like, it complements my natural body smell. And for me, I have had success with that.
Okay.
Not that saying that everybody can do that. And I'm not acting like it's all, you know, I'm mighty here.
No,
but
yeah, of course.
that
No,
absolutely, I feel like.
but just suggestions is what we're putting out there for
Yeah,
everybody, right?
yeah.
To try different things,
But
see what works for you and what you're comfortable with.
In general, yes, I agree. Having a nice cologne goes a long way. That said, I feel fruity if I'm wearing too much. If the smell is too strong, there are very, very, like maybe count on one hand.
I'm gonna teach you how to put on cologne real quick for the audience so they know.
Okay.
For you. You need 2 spritz, maybe 3 if you're feeling like the cologne doesn't last or you need an extra, depending on what it is, right? 1 central, 1 on your wrist where you rub it in together.
Yep.
That's it. If you're really feeling like it's not going to last or you need a stronger scent, 1 down below.
Yeah.
And that's it. Those
Wash-
are your 3.
Wash your balls.
Any more than that, if you're this guy and you're bathing in it and just running through a cloud of smoke, you're doing too much and you're going to gas people out of the room.
But even then, like That's mostly my problem. Is I feel, I really don't know any other way to say this.
Yeah.
I feel super uncomfortable and fruity if it's got like I can count on one hand and have fingers left over. Because I've been to the department store and went through it and did all that. That's why I suggested it. How many scents that I was comfortable buying, and honestly, a lot of them
Too much.
after
Too fruity.
90% of them are. Yeah. Like if you're comfortable with that kind of thing, that's cool. But
Yeah.
there are just so few that I feel like I'm actually okay with.
Like manly smells, right?
Yes.
But again, you're not attracting yourself. You're attracting a woman.
Yes. So that's another thing.
Right.
Bring up, I trim my beard down a lot, but usually once a year I'll grow my beard out. And
Okay.
I don't know if you saw it recently or not, but like I grow a beard, like full on manly, like it's not scruffy. It's super
that's
soft,
how mine
smooth,
is when
filled in.
When it continues, I just got this shaved a week ago and it's already grown back.
Well, I cut it down before I came out here for the first episode.
Yeah. Same.
But
yeah.
I grow a beard so much so that like women who don't like facial hair have overwhelmingly been like, I love your beard. It's so nice. It smells good. Beard oils. If you have a nice beard oil, I think
Softens it up.
that covers the cologne smell because it's like a
It does.
hearty, earthy smell,
Yeah.
and it attracts
A
women.
good beard oil or balm goes a long way too, especially if you're more face to face
Yeah.
with people.
Beard Club, if you're out there and you want to sponsor us,
Taking all options right now. Real quick before I change topics, I didn't have it written down, but the jewelry is also a good point. It's not for everybody.
no,
I am
it's not for me.
fully aware of that. Now, what I will say about it is I think every guy should have a nice watch. A watch, if you're going to do anything, that's where you start.
Yes, I agree.
From there, a simple bracelet or something goes a long way. Something not very flashy, unless you're that type of guy who's looking for flashy. A simple necklace after that, and then I have personally tried rings, and I don't like them.
No.
They feel more cumbersome and annoying, but I do know people that use them. What you're doing with any piece of jewelry is you are the term peacocking.
I was gonna say,
Basically,
you're signaling.
You're signaling. You're signaling. You're drawing attention to yourself. And realistically, the only thing any gentleman needs to do when you walk into a room is stand out. Mm-hmm. Right. So, if going back to the country bar example, if you go to a country bar and are not dressed like a cowboy, you stand out. If you go to a
Yes,
hip
I
hop
agree.
club and don't look like a hip hop guy, you stand out.
Yes.
So whatever your style is, take that style and go everywhere with it. Don't adapt to the environment, adapt to yourself and your personality.
I agree with that.
And if you can do that and then just add the small things that you're still comfortable doing while peacocking, quote unquote,
Yes.
that's what's going to draw your attention. It's standing out, being different than the crowd. And that's what most people, especially Americans, fail to do. They become sheep people, right? And they follow. They don't have their own ideas. They don't have their own personality. They don't have their own likes and interests. But if they can do that, that's what sets them apart, and that's what makes you interesting. So don't be afraid to be yourself, because that's realistically, when it gets down to it, the difference between somebody saying yes to dating you and not.
Yes, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Now, if you're like me and you don't even want to wear a watch, you don't have to. I genuinely think you don't have to. I think it can help. There are, women by nature, almost every woman is going to be somewhat materialistic. And I don't mean that in a bad thing. That's just how they're programmed, right?
The social society has created that.
They are looking for things
They
like
like
that,
shoes,
right?
they like purses, they
Yes.
like
Yes.
material possessions. Correct.
Yes. If you are like that, that makes your style that much more important, I think. The clothes you're actually wearing. Have a nice pair of shoes on. You don't have to be super dressed up and look, like you're ready to walk onto a modeling shoot, but it needs to be enough that a woman can look at you and be like, "Oh, he tried. He looks good."
And this is good going into
This is intentional.
the next topic, which is self-awareness.
Yes.
So understanding your strengths, weaknesses, and values. So let me ask you to start us off, what makes you unique? You can be a very quick, it doesn't have to be a detailed answer, but.
So I've always been told I have the gift of gab.
Okay.
And I mean, you and I have known each other for like 12 plus years at this point.
Right.
You know, so I mean, when you first met me, I probably said something crazy, and you know, you either thought it was funny or it was like, oh, this guy's a little crazy, you know.
Yeah.
I can talk to anybody. I'm typically pretty good at reading the room and, you know, being able to make jokes and things like that. I feel like I have had good success with being able to mirror people and make them feel comfortable.
Okay.
And I think, at least in regards to women, I think that is a good place for me to start my approach, is kind of filling out the vibe and being able to work off those social cues.
Well, understanding your strengths and weaknesses, how would you portray that to our audience? Like, how would they find out what their strengths and weaknesses are?
It takes a lot of self-reflection. It takes a lot of self-reflection.
Some honesty with yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you don't know where, so like weakness, sometimes I don't know when to shut up and I feel awkward, so I have to keep talking, and that's just not what you want to do.
No.
Sometimes, you know.
A lot of time. To be honest,
Yeah.
there's statistics that I've seen is that
Less is
shows
more.
that if you actually let a woman talk more on a date about
Yes,
herself,
absolutely.
she thinks the date went better
Yes.
because she got to talk about herself and she
Yes.
loves herself.
Yes. And I guess I should back up a little bit. I'm not saying like I just talk.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of what I was getting at. You know, I read the social cues.
Right.
I try to engage people, you know, making people feel comfortable and feel like, you know, I'm, at least as far as women go, like I'm not a threat, you know.
So let's go over like some possible strengths. Could you be physically attractive? Are you tall? Do you have a certain maybe colored eyes, right? Do you have a good beard in this case, right?
I mean, if you want to talk about physical appearances,
We'll
like
start there.
it's hard to tell. I
But
know
it can be everything. So let's just say, continue.
I have blue eyes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
That, you know,
Helps.
that helps a lot.
Yeah.
You can't really tell it right now, but I do have naturally dirty blonde hair. If it grows out, you can see it. My beard is a very unique color. Again, it's kind of hard to tell what it is right now until it gets longer.
Right.
When it's longer, it's a very pretty auburn color.
Okay. Well, this is not your dating profile.
I
and
know.
The women are not listening. So
I know. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm typically in good shape.
okay. So again, not about you. What else can you add for them? What can they look at about themselves? Are you good at? Okay, here's one. Are you better verbally or are you better physically?
Yes. Okay, so
You have to play to your strengths, in other words.
what he means by that, is it more of a mental game for you, or are you more like, is your appearance going to get you in the door, right? So like for me, for example, because I'm shorter, unless I'm going after, you know, a damn near dwarf, most of the time I'm going to get a girl to pay attention to me based off of something I say. Very rarely is it going to be based off my appearance alone.
You're not going to just stand out in the crowd and
Right.
Right.
Whereas you, Mr. over 6 foot, and, you know,
whatever.
look like
whatever.
Aphrodite's coming after him.
Shit. I wish. Not anymore. Maybe back in the day.
You know, somebody like you, not that you can't talk to women or you don't have that.
Sure.
that
No,
that-
I'm
that
well
gift.
rounded now, of course, right?
But my little brother's like this, even though we look a lot alike.
Okay.
Women just see him and they'll flock to him. You know, and that's based on his
Physically
appearance. Yes. So, you know, I guess to land the plane, you need to be able to figure out if you're going to have to be more witty. You know, it's going to come more from how you approach women and what you say to them, or is it going to be a thing where you can just catch the right look from a woman,
Yeah.
and reciprocate, and
just
she's
go from there.
Yeah.
And they're already in the door. Now she's interested in you as a person.
To answer your question about how do they find that? Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of self-reflection. ask the women in your life. It could be, your sister. It could be an acquaintance, a platonic, I don't want to say friend, but
I would take it a step further and just say, not even with women, just what are you good at in general?
yes.
What are
you
your
good at in
strengths?
general?
Are you a chess player? Are you?
Yes.
What do you like to do? And are you good enough at it that it's interesting? You know what I mean?
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
That's so even no matter what it is, are you a carpenter? Are you whatever skill that you have, are you good enough at it that you put yourself in like the top 5% and you're interesting? Because if you have a skill that most people don't have, if you can sing, if you can dance, right? Those are more of the physical attributes that I'm talking about. Put yourself in a
Okay. I
place
see what you're saying.
to emphasize your skill set. If you're an athlete, right? You might be able to pick up a girl at the gym or working out or going to play tag football or something in the park or doing something athletic. Whereas if you're the guy that's not very athletic, you have to find a new way to find a new type of woman, a more mental approach, whether that be the chess club or the library, right? So figure out what your strengths are and then own into that. Just take acknowledgement of it and understand where you're going to be weak. I'm not saying don't ever go to the places that you're weak at. Try it, of course, because it helps you understand yourself and helps you become more well-rounded overall.
Yeah. I think trial and error is a big part of that.
It's huge.
You have to go out. You have to try things. You go, oh, I felt more comfortable doing this. I may not have had success, but it's something I can build off of, kind of thing.
And all of these things that we talk about on this podcast are not black and white answers by any means. Everybody's individually different. That's why I would love for you guys to either DM me if you want it to be more personal and private and not put your own business out there. That's fine. Add it in the comments, whatever you need to do. But we can tailor something specific towards you for that.
Yes,
that
absolutely.
interest. But at the end of the day, everybody's going to have a different situation. None of these things are black and white. These are just suggestions to get you started or to give you new things to think about that maybe you haven't put into perspective before when preparing. That's realistically what this whole podcast is about. I mentioned values. Other than that, like understanding strengths, weaknesses, and values. What values are you looking for, and what values do you bring to the table? And this goes for men and women.
Yes, absolutely.
So women don't think about this question very often at all because it's very easy for them to get men.
I am the table.
Yeah, that's right. So they don't have to worry about what values they bring to the table, right?
Oftentimes, no, but I think times are changing.
And examples of this would be religious values, cultural. Are you a homebody? Are you more outgoing? What hobbies do you have? These are different values that you may attribute to yourself and you would look for in a partner. Because at the end of the day, if let's just say the stars align and you go out and you find somebody and you're both attracted to each other and you guys go home, but none of your interests align. You have different political views, you have different religious views, you like video games and she likes watching the E-Network or whatever it may be, right? You're never going to have a common ground and a place of interest to relate with each other and build the chemistry that you need for a long-term relationship.
I think a big part of that too is women in particular. They get bored really easily. They get bored faster than men do, for sure. You have to. I think even if a man is bored, if he has a good woman or he thinks he has a good woman, he's going to stick around. Mm-hmm. But I agree. It's important to align yourself with somebody who has at least one thing in common so that you can use that to keep her kind of engaged and interested.
Yeah.
I also don't think it's a bad thing to step into the things that into her hobbies either.
No, you should both be accepting of each other's hobbies to the point where you're at least willing to try it and find out if you can tolerate it.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Tolerance is the key there. It's not that you're going to enjoy it. You're not going to pick up knitting like she does or whatever it may be, and she may never be as serious about video games or a Marvel movie or something like that you're into, right? But if she's willing to accommodate and tolerate the things that you like, that's a plus.
Yes,
if she'll just sit and watch you play and hang out with you and, you know what I mean, interact on at least a mild scale, that should be enough. So those are kind of some different things to think of. One of the reasons I brought this topic up is I had somebody that I was coaching recently. They killed any potential relationship, dating, or intercourse that they would have had with a woman very early on. And primarily because they're Muslim.
Oh, okay. I know who this person is.
And it's not who you're thinking.
Okay.
And they portrayed those values upon the woman very early on, within the first week.
Yeah, that's not good.
They were like, this is what I need in a woman. They got to do the X, Y, Z, da, 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 da. And the woman immediately said, nope, and ran away. So this was the advice that I gave him. I said, it's fine to have those values, but where you messed up was she didn't love you first.
Yes.
You can only impart values and traditions on somebody who's willing to change for you.
Yes.
Or at least tolerate you.
Yes.
And the only way to do that is to be 3+ months in, to the point where you've built a connection with somebody where they don't want to just let you go and walk away. You can't say those things on the first date. You can't talk about those things within the first week, because if it's a hot topic like that, you're going to drive somebody away. They would say, especially a woman, why would I tolerate you and your crazy ass traditions?
Yeah, exactly.
When I can turn around and open the next 6 DMs and try somebody different that's
Yes.
not going to impart these rules on me.
Yes, exactly.
You have to be that guy first.
Yes.
Until you are that guy, you have no say in what the woman does. And that's where tons of men mess up, is they're going to think that they're the shit. They're going to talk about how women are this and that, and they're all whores, and everybody's terrible, and blah, 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 blah. Great. What are you doing? I hold the men accountable too. What are you doing that says they should pick you over me or him or anybody else? Because if you're not that guy, and you don't have that clout, and you don't have that bank account, and you don't have that look, that James Bond swagger, bro, don't tell a girl she can't do something. This is 2025. She's going to do whatever she wants if she's not in love with you.
Yes.
That's just the case.
Yep.
So that's any of the values that you have, religious, cultural, political, keep it on the back burner. Don't throw them away unless she brings it up and provokes the conversation. It's not your place to open with that.
Open with it, no. I do think at some point it is important to make sure that they know kind of where. So, like, if I'm going on a date with a woman, I'm not going to sit there and be like, well, your ass is going to be in the kitchen cooking and cleaning, all day long. But I'm going to, I might say something like, I am looking for somewhat of a more traditional partner.
Sure.
I think because what I've seen is a lot of women get in relationships with a guy and they're like, oh my God, like I care about him, but this isn't how he was when we were first dating. And now that we're kind of serious, he's, kind of flipped the script on me and he's expecting all these things. Don't do that. There has to be a happy medium of how you can show the woman that, hey, I am Muslim. I have these values.
Right.
I'm not imposing this on you.
And she's
but-
not going to be very knowledgeable on what all those values are.
Right.
So keep the real crazy ones to yourself for a little bit.
Exactly.
You can tell her you're Muslim without saying, I'm going to need you to put this on. You know what I mean? Hang back a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'll give you my own personal example. I was going to save this for a later episode in a different topic, but it kind of goes with the sentiment right now. So in a relationship that I had, there was a point where it was probably 3 or 4 months into the relationship, and she was talking about going on a girls' trip to Mexico. Ooh. Okay. And this was not, let's just talk about it. This was, hey, I've been out drinking margaritas with my girlfriend, and we booked the trip to Mexico.
Oh, that's a red flag.
The big red flag, right? So it was far enough into this. It was in the weird spot. And I'll tell you why. It was far enough in the relationship where I was like, I've already put in 3 to 4 months worth of work to get you to really like me. And I think I have enough pull now to tell you I don't like this. And I don't think that you should be going. But it wasn't long enough in the relationship where she's earned my trust yet. And that's the sweet spot, because trust is not just freely given. Trust is earned. And a lot of ladies don't understand that, and they think that they can continue doing what they do as a single lady in a relationship. And the excuse that I hear all the time is, well, I've done it for 10 years. I've done it for 5 years and nothing's ever happened. I've done it for 20 years and nothing's happened.
Okay, but you haven't been dating me for
That's
5
right.
years, 10 years, 20
And
years.
that's the point, is if you've dated another fool that has allowed such behavior,
That's not me.
where are they now?
Exactly. Why are they? Why?
Why? Oh, he broke up with you? I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I wonder why. Is it because he didn't trust you? Is it because he didn't have the balls to tell you that you were doing things that he didn't like? That's most of it. Guys are too damn scared to lose their girl, so they shut the up about what they like and don't like.
They become a doormat.
And then the relationship starts to fizzle because now they're not respected anymore. Your girl will respect you if you tell her what you like and don't like.
Yeah.
Here's why I like it. Here's why I don't like it. These are the problems of what can happen going to Mexico right now. I think it's too early in our relationship for me to say, yeah, go to Mexico for a week and I don't know where you are, who you're with, or what's going on. And if you don't like that, then I'm telling you right now, that's fine. Go on your trip. I'm not mad at you, but I will not be here when you get back.
Exactly. And
That's the expectation.
yes, I can kind of piggyback off of that. The way that I think is kind of the best way to explain without, okay, so like you're not, if you've only been dating for 3-4 months, she's probably gonna think that you can't tell her what to do. And if you tell her
100%.
you're not going, or I don't want you to go, well, you can't tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me.
You're controlling or this.
Yes,
You're insecure.
You're insecure. You are not insecure.
No.
That is 1000%. If you let your girl go, you are a simp. You are a doormat.
Then you are insecure.
She will continue to build off of that, and there will be no end point.
Unless you actually don't care. And for that, I ask you, why don't you care?
Exactly. Why don't you care?
Do you not care about her? Do you not care about her safety? You don't really love the girl then? You're just letting her do whatever the heck she wants to do.
Yeah.
It's, again, going back to the male and female dynamics, it's your job as the male to be the protector.
Yes,
So
exactly.
if you foresee danger, you need to tell her, I don't think this is a good idea. Why are you not going to Mexico with me?
Yes. That's my
Let's go
question.
together because I can be there to protect you.
Yes.
From whatever that is.
So to follow up, I kind of the way I like to say it is like, okay, my girlfriend doesn't do that. My girlfriend doesn't go on these girls' trips. My girlfriend doesn't go to a foreign country without me. My girlfriend doesn't do this. She doesn't do that kind of thing. And I have gotten a better response from women that way.
That's oddly part of the topic in my next notes too, is in a further episode, is how to get a woman to do what you want her to do.
Yes.
While it's still being your idea, but making her think that it's her idea.
Well, we can elaborate more on that later. But like, I
yeah.
think that's a good starting point is
Yeah.
my girlfriend does not do that. My girlfriend does not dress. Be careful how I say this. My girlfriend does not wear
Provocatively or-
provocative. She does not dress provocatively to the gym. She doesn't have her ass hanging out, her tits hanging out, all this skin. She doesn't do that.
I don't mind provocative dressing when I'm around.
Yes, that's a big difference.
If you're going out on a date together or going to an establishment or a party of some kind together, that's fine. I mean, as long as
Yeah.
you're not naked, right?
Yeah.
With
Within reason. Within
right.
reason.
I think that provocative dressing is fine because you're showing off for your man and you're also looking good to everybody around you that you are your man.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There's a line that I've heard is you're not supposed to make your man jealous. You're supposed to make other men jealous of your man.
Yes, exactly.
And if you live by that rule, your relationship will most likely be stable.
yes.
That's the end of it. And that's a good one for women if there are any female listeners out there at some point. That's important. Going into the next part, unless you have anything else about that.
No, everything I'm thinking of is kind of for our next segment.
Okay.
So
personal branding. How do you craft a positive and attractive self-image? And how do you present yourself? So are you shy? Are you invisible to women? Are you dominant? Do you present yourself like you're a millionaire and have $1 billion in the bank?
So I have a question for you.
Yep.
And I can't say I've had this issue because whether it was foolish or not, I think I've always had confidence growing up.
Okay.
How do you portray confidence? How do you build confidence authentically, especially if you have no natural confidence? Like your buddy that you were talking about earlier.
Sure.
How does that guy build confidence without just raw success with women?
Education is number one. And that sounds really weird, but educating yourself on how things are going to play out. So almost being like you have a crystal ball, right? If you could see into the future as a man and know that you're going to get shot down 6 out of the 10 times, I think you'd still talk to the 10 girls because you know 4 of them are going to say yes, and you're going to be like, hell yeah, I'm the man. But most people don't go into the situations thinking that. They think, oh, she said no, and she said no, and those were the first 2. I must look like crap tonight. Or I don't have the confidence to even talk to her or do anything and go further. So building confidence is from the presumption of I am the main character, almost. That kind of
Yes,
mentality.
I absolutely agree.
Right? Without fully embracing it. You have to have humility still. But you also have to know all of the things that you've been through. We've all gone through trials and tribulations in our lives and adversity, right? So if you have those things, think back as one of those things as a backbone for this is why I deserve to be here. I deserve to be here because I've gone through this, or I'm educated in this. I have my bachelor's degree. I have this job. I have something. Whatever it is that you have, going back to your strengths and weaknesses, if you have something that you know the other people in the rest of the room don't have, understand that is your confidence. That is what's going to set you apart. That's what you need to go forward. It goes back to preparation. Preparation is knowing what your strengths are, and then all of the other things we talked about. Are you dressed the part tonight? Do you feel your best? Did you get that fresh haircut?
Physically, are you comfortable with how you look, or are you going to the gym?
You need to go to the right.
Are you improving yourself?
I've talked about this with one of my other friends who's very out of shape. And I said, are you the best version of yourself? Because you complain about women a lot, but what are you doing to increase your chances? You have to better yourself first. I'm not saying women are great right now by any means, so don't get it twisted. There's a lot of fuck around on that side. But you have to be the best version of yourself to get the best outcome in any endeavor.
Yes.
If you decide to go run a marathon, you have to go prepare by running some marathons and laps and progress. If you want to go deadlift, you need to learn how to deadlift. If you want to do something crazy like shoot a bow and arrow, you're not going to hit the target if it's the first time picking up a bow and arrow.
Well, it's something we can both relate to. It's like jiu-jitsu. You know, you're not going to
Sure.
walk in and be a black belt. You're not going to be a black belt after 1 year, 2 years,
You're going to
3
get your
years,
ass
5
choked
years.
out by a lot of people.
Yes, that is like almost a decade-long endeavor.
Absolutely.
If you do it consistently, 3 to 5 days
Whatever.
a week.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of guys, most guys these days play video games, right?
Yes.
I'm going to say a
Yeah.
good majority. Related to a video game, if you play a game that you play all the time, you're pretty good at it because you played it quite a bit. If you hand that controller to your mom, she's going to probably spin around in circles and not know what she's doing.
This might be better. Because a lot of the games that are popular right now are like Counter-Strike style games, Fortnite, stuff like that.
Shooters and such. Yeah.
How many people get into those games after watching someone on YouTube just absolute dominate a lobby,
That's
and
a
then
good point.
and then they turn around, they try to play, and they get turned off because
They're not that good.
I got my ass kicked 10 games.
I didn't
in a
get
row.
12 headshots.
Yeah,
Right.
I got eliminated in the first minute, 10 games in a row. Okay, well, how the hell do you get better?
Got to keep going.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with anything.
Yeah.
Musical instrument. I mean, 99% of endeavors in life, there's a difference in skill set.
Absolutely.
It goes with education, it goes with work, it goes with hobbies, it goes with almost everything. There are levels to the game, and everything is a game. And if you think about it that way and understand that you have to put in the hours, like I said on the last podcast, 1,000 hours to mastery. If you don't put those 1,000 hours in, you are not the master.
That kind of gets to where I was going to try to land with this discussion is almost anything. There are definitely, I'm not going to be here and be like, you can do anything you want. No, there are definitely things you're not going to be able to do. I will never be able to squat 600 pounds. I will never be able to date a woman 6 foot or taller, things like that.
Yeah.
But in general, maybe.
Percentages are low, but maybe.
In general.
You're not going to be able to dunk, right?
Right.
Right, a full-size court.
In general, you can do almost anything. You can get good at almost anything you want to. So if you want to be better at talking to women, you have to work on yourself. You have to put in the work.
That is a skill set.
It is a skill set. You have to get out there and talk to women. You have to figure out what works, what doesn't work, what makes you feel comfortable.
To piggyback on that, the approach is part of that.
Oh, that's one. That's
even
so
having the
much of it.
confidence to walk up there and start the conversation, that gets 1,000 times easier the more you do it.
Yes.
Repetition.
And get off dating apps. I hate dating apps. I'm not on any right now. I haven't been for years. You have to go out and either cold approach or go to bars and get used to talking to women who are there to meet guys. Especially if you're shorter, you're not as good looking, you think you may be a little overweight. Don't put yourself in a situation where women are window shopping for you. Go out and make that impression. Make them go, oh,
I'm gonna take that
I
a
like
step
what he
further.
said. I like this guy.
And say, get off Cornhub and OnlyFans.
Yes, that is killing you. Absolutely killing you.
If you do that, let's just say you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I got some jingles. I got to get rid of these real quick so I can focus on my day. You're killing your motivation for that night to get out and do what you need to do to interact with somebody socially.
I think in general. I think to do anything
Make
in
you
general,
more tired and everything else, right?
Yeah.
Just in general. So I'm not saying don't do it, but try to change it from the beginning of your day to your end of your day. When you're about to go to sleep, it's 10 o'clock at night and you know nothing's going to happen.
Or at least put it off to the point to where you're like, okay, I got to get this out of me,
Right. But if you can hold that feeling, that urge till, when you go out on a Friday night.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're going to be like, oh, I'm getting this shit done.
Yes.
Because this shit is a driving factor now.
Yes.
Biologically,
exactly.
it's driving me, right? Talking about the different, how do you present yourself? Like, are you invisible? Are you shy? A lot of it has to do with body language that you present to yourself. So what would you say is good body language? And what would be somebody let's start with this. What's somebody who has shy body language?
Like a celebrity or somebody like that?
Just if you went out to a bar somewhere, right, and you scanned the room and you've seen a guy who you automatically determined to be shy, what was the body language that he was portraying to give you that reaction? Have you ever thought about this?
Yeah, actually,
Okay.
a little bit.
Okay.
Because it's like when you're sizing people up. You go out, you look at guys, and you're like, I can whoop him.
Right.
I'm not messing with that.
They don't
guy.
have the confidence, right?
Yeah. If you are the guy who goes and sits at the bar, and you have your back turned to the floor,
Yep.
most of the night, if you can't make eye contact with people. If you sit there and, you're kind of hunched over, or I guess I'm having a hard time articulating, but
Okay.
you kind of get where I'm going.
I can add onto it. Yeah. So body language in general. There's like 3 that comes to mind immediately. And there's probably more, and I'd have to think of specific situations to come up with them. But fidgety.
Yes. Okay.
Don't look like you're fidgeting and like nervous.
Yes.
Right?
Okay. That makes sense.
Scanning around. You're always wanting to project yourself, chest out, shoulders back, right? Like,
Good posture.
mark yourself in your place, right? This is where I am. This is who I am. I'm going to stand up tall because I have the confidence to project that to the room. And I don't want to blend into the crowd. I want to stand out. I want to be the tallest person in the room, even if I'm 5'6" or whatever the fuck you are.
Oh, gee, thanks.
I'm just saying, you want to still be the tallest person in the room.
I'm 5'8".
5'8", whatever. The next part or thing that I can think of is arms crossed. That's a huge red flag.
Yes, I agree.
Anybody whose arms crossed is automatically portraying that they're closed off from conversation
Yes.
and unapproachable.
Yes.
You look either angry or upset.
Yes.
And those are two things that naturally people don't want to deal with. So you avoid those type of people.
Yeah.
And then this one could be debated, but this is my own personal. Never sit down.
And I agree with that. Yeah. I
You
agree with
always
that.
want to stand up, show your entire fit from top to bottom, your presence, and also 99% of people, even myself included, struggling with it during this podcast. My posture is terrible sitting down. If I'm standing up, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
That's just general rules of thumb. If you're out and about, unless everybody is sitting down and that's just the type of environment or the gala that you're in, stand up.
Stand up. I agree.
Stand up.
I agree. And make eye contact with people. Make eye contact.
Absolutely.
Smile. You know, a guy
Smiling
makes,
is huge.
You know, even if it's a dude, you know,
Yeah.
give him that nod, you know.
Don't feel afraid to interact with people. If somebody's holding the door for you and you're changing rooms or something in the
Absolutely
bar.
not.
You know?
And to take that a step further, use that, you know, if you make eye contact with a woman or like you have an interaction, use that as an opportunity to work on some game. Say something that you think might be funny or witty or, you know, compliment. Use that to compliment her. Like, you know, oh, I have a reason to look at you now. Let me, you know, oh my God, that dress looks, you know, whatever. Look at your hair. Look at your, you know, I really like your shoes. You know, something corny like that.
Yeah. I will give you an example of why body language matters less to women than it does men. And here's the example. A while back, a long time ago, I went out, and I think I've told you the story, but I'll say it for them. There was a very attractive woman, clearly probably the most attractive at the event that we were at. I knew that everybody was looking, and a lot of the time for me personally at this point in my life, that's the one I go for. Was whether I got shot down or not, I'm less upset about it if it was the prettiest girl in the bar and I get shot down. I'm like, well, whatever.
Well,
you know?
the difference is
I don't feel too bad about it.
The difference is like she is also in your wheelhouse. Like you have that capability.
I do. And this story is an example of that. So it was a little bit slick. It was outside, and she ended up slipping because there were still puddles on the floor from the rain.
Oh, that's easy.
And she busted her ass, like straight up sideways on the floor, looking like
Easy
like she fell off a
opening.
building like a cripple.
Yeah.
You know? So her two friends help her up. I was far enough away that I couldn't properly get there in time. There was another guy that was standing right there. So I'm like, damn, that was a great opportunity to help her up and have an opening conversation with her if you were there. Now, I'm not saying go and push chicks on the ground to go and find an opening to talk to them. But,
Kick her foot, trip her,
you know,
pull her
why
hair.
don't you go dance by the puddle over there?
Yeah.
No. But the guy helps her up. She was obviously clearly embarrassed. Goes right inside and back inside and gets out of the outside area where we're slippery. And I was like, damn, there goes my opportunity to talk to her. Like now she's, I don't know if she's leaving or what the case may be. So I end up, maybe 15, 20 minutes later, I end up going to the restroom, come out, and she happens to be standing there. So I walk past her at first, and something inside me says, nope, do it now. Shoot the shot. So I turn around and I say, hey, are you okay? That was it. That's the opening line. Hey, are you okay? And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, I was outside when you fell a little earlier. And she was like, oh my God, that was so embarrassing. That was terrible. And I was like, oh, just checking on you. I was like, everything's good. And we started talking a little bit. She was waiting for somebody, one of her cousins or something. I guess one of the people she was with that was throwing up in the restroom or something. She drank too much already. So that was it. I said, okay, well, I know that you're waiting for your friend. Why don't you come hang out with me and my friends later? If you don't have anything to do, we'll be over here. And she was like, no, well, I'll come now. She's going to be there for a while. So I was like, okay. Immediately, that was the opening. At that point, you need to turn all the confidence on.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
no more hesitation. I grabbed her by the hand
Yes.
and took her and dragged her all the way to the other bar where my friends were sitting.
Show dominance.
Done. It was game on for the rest of the night at that point.
Yes.
Right? Because I had the wherewithal to start the conversation when it was time, I kind of put her on the back foot, bringing up an embarrassing moment. Doesn't always work, but
No.
But if you are generally appealing to her and then also seem compassionate and empathetic towards her situation, then it will work. And it did. I mean, in that instance. So those are just some of the things that you can look for in body language. Body language for her in that case was before the fall, baddest bitch in the room. After the fall, super insecure.
Yes.
Played into those things.
Yes.
This is why it doesn't matter for women as much, to get back to my original point, because even though she became the most insecure because of what happened and tried to run away from the situation and everybody that's seen it, she still got picked up.
Yes.
Because she was still pretty.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that's all it takes for a girl, is to just show up and look good. Whereas a guy, if you busted your ass outside, we'll role reverse this. Any of the girls that seen that and you tried to approach them later on, they're probably going to look at you like you're a fool.
Actually, since you want to bring that up,
Okay.
and I haven't been sitting here thinking about this, but like this is just, I guess, for you awkward guys out there, because, and that doesn't mean that everybody doesn't have those awkward situations. Like I have fumbled so many times, and like eventually we'll come out and we'll talk about some stories where I'm like, damn, that was cringe. But
Yeah.
anyway, you can play that shit off too. You can turn it around and be like, you'd be like, so like
That's a next level confidence that's not easy to do.
But that's also just witty, right? So like, going back to what I was saying, be witty, make a comment that she's like, oh, one time there was a chick who, I forgot where I even was. I can't remember if it was a party.
Not to cut you off. Just a random scenario came into my head of you saying being witty and how this would have worked. If it was like a Halloween party and you busted your ass, the first thing I would do is find the girl in a nurse costume.
Yeah.
And be like,
Yes.
can you fix me?
Yeah.
I just broke myself.
Yeah.
That would be an excellent intro.
Yes.
And both parties would find it hilarious.
So that actually kind of segues into it. I ate shit, and I think it was wet outside.
Okay.
I absolutely ate shit, and I was just sitting there for, and a bunch of people laughed or whatever, and immediately this chick, I had kind of been eyeing her a little bit, but she came over and she's like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" This thing. The attraction may have been off, and she was kind of going into like, she just felt bad for me or whatever.
Sure.
And I was like, and again, this is kind of corny. I was like, well, I wasn't paying attention, and she's like, oh, I forgot what she let in, she bought into it, and she was, she made oh, what were you doing? And I was like, well, honestly, you're pretty distracting,
So you went towards, I get it. Sure.
And then it led into, and then she's like, oh, well, she kind of laughed or whatever, helped me up or whatever. And she's like, oh, are you okay? And I was like, I don't know. You might have to have a drink or two with me before I can figure out if I'm all right. Now, that's kind of corny. That doesn't always work, but it can work.
Anything can work. Literally
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
can work. The point to take away from your story for everybody else is having the conversation is the key.
Yes.
Regardless of how corny it is.
Yes.
Have the conversation and don't stumble over your own words. If you're going to say something, say it. And if you're going to do something, do it. That's just
Yeah.
if you felt like you went into that conversation and were probably like, oh, I don't know, maybe you can have some drinks with me. And just said it all like, I don't really know if you're going to say yes, and shrink down into your shoulders.
It wouldn't
have worked.
It went from you're pitying me to I'm hitting on you.
That's right. That's right. You changed the dynamic and you said, even though this was an embarrassing situation, I'm still confident enough to come up and say hello.
Yeah. This happened. We're running kind of late, but this happened last week.
Oh, wow.
When we were out. I went up to that girl that you were like, oh, he's gonna get a girlfriend out of this. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The one outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Immediately I was like, hey, would you like to dance?
Yep.
Immediately. By the way, guys, you can learn how to dance. It's not that hard.
I got 17 left feet and I'll never do it right. So I'm like an octopus on the dance floor. It's not good.
You want to impress a woman, learn how to dance.
This is understanding your strengths and weaknesses.
Yes.
And I understand that is a weakness of mine, and I do not try to put myself in that space unless I absolutely have to.
And I'm gonna avoid specifics, but like the 3 or 4 different dances that we could have done to the song that was playing, the different, steps or tune, whatever you want to call it, moves. Yeah. She was like, I don't know how. And I was like, I'll teach you.
That's great, because that's not typical for a lot of women to not know how to dance.
Well, not only that, well, no, she could dance. She had just never been in this environment before.
Gotcha.
And it became very apparent, you know, and to lead into that, you know, if you guys are already in the dominant position like that, don't be afraid to start the conversation. From there, it was, you know, I kind of gave her some cues. I was like, follow me kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's just a conversation. It's a conversation starter. Oh my God. What are you talking about? You can dance. You lied to me.
Right,
You know,
right.
make it playful. I'm like, you freaking lied to me. You've done this before. You can. She's like, no, I haven't. You know, but you do dance. What do you like to do? Kind of thing. You know.
That brings up something for everybody to always think about. Every guy that is ever talking to a woman, if you are at all not sure of yourself, not confident on whatever, you have to understand. Think of the fact that at some point that girl was a 5-year-old, and this sounds weird, but hear me out on this, right? So when that woman that you're talking to, at some point was a child.
Where are you going with this?
I'm
it's,
sure
it's not looking good right now.
No, it's they are understanding life the same way that you are. Meaning they said they had the same experiences. They probably had similar things where they tried out for a team and got rejected, or they weren't the best on the team, or they skinned their knee because they were playing or climbing a tree when they were a kid. All of the things that build you as a person, this woman that you are now looking at as a sexual object also went through those things. So if you can relate, take the fact that she's a pretty woman out of the picture for a second and relate to her as she is a human being. And if we have just a fun conversation, and she likes to laugh and joke just like everybody else. Most men lose that when they're talking to women, especially when they're new at it, and they just try to be Mr. Suave. I'm the best. I'm all romantic and I'm this and that. When in reality, if you're a normal person and you're funny and you're
Show some humility.
showing humility and everything else and can relate to her as a person, she may think that, I don't know, pick a child's television show, right? She may have loved that show as a kid. If you can relate on the fact that you guys both know what that is and it's an obscure cartoon, that's a relatable topic. Don't be Don Juan.
Yes.
At the end of the day, almost all of us are not that guy.
Yes.
We're not Tom Cruise in his prime. We're not Brad Pitt. None of us are. There's only a couple of those guys. If you're that, Chad, good on you. You don't need this podcast. Probably
Yeah.
go and enjoy life.
Yeah.
But that's not what this is for. This is for the average guy who struggles with weight, who struggles with confidence, who struggles with appearance sometimes, with clothing choices, with whatever it may be. This is where you need to be, because you just need to understand the whole game to get to from point A to point B. And like the message that I read at the beginning of this podcast, that's what we're trying to avoid. This is the second podcast in a row where I've had a story about a person who's considering, whether true or not
Ending
true,
it, yeah.
ending it because of women and social relationships. This is not okay. If that's the key component of I'm going to not be alive anymore and see what my future holds, whether it's children, family, career, scientific discovery, you don't know what it's going to hold. But if that's what's holding you back is I can't just get this girl to hug me, then we need to talk,
Yes.
because I can fix that. It's just coaching and repetition. That's all that is. So if you can do those couple of things and just listen and be open-minded and have the cojones to reach out and send me a DM and say, hey, I'm curious. This is my situation. What do you think? I can respond to you. We can have a full discussion in the DMs. And I can also go over it in the next podcast without ever saying who it was.
Yep.
I'll just say, hey, if somebody came up to me with this question, this is what I think. And go over it. And it's a great topic of discussion. And you may be teaching other guys that have the same problem at the same time. So it's a win-win for everybody. That's what this is for. Is it's an education for men in general that are struggling. If you're not struggling and you just could do better, that's good too. Take a couple of takeaways and pointers and use those. Implement more things to your game. I don't have much else. What else do you got for wrap it up, because we're going long here?
Yeah, we are going a little long. Let's see here. Okay, this may be for another time, and if it is, just say so.
Sure.
So, I mean, I kind of guess it is. When you've got her on the hook, she says yes.
Okay.
You know, you get that number, you go on a date.
Sure.
How do you keep her on the hook without fumbling?
Okay. Early on,
Yes.
like a first date without fumbling.
We'll say like dates 1 to 5. Because
Okay.
I think in general, that's what it would
Sure.
take a guy to get a woman to fully commit.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, we can go over it real quick and then maybe go deeper on another episode. But first, it depends on how you met and what your conversation connection looks like. So what I mean by that is, did you meet online? Was it a dating app? Was it through friends? Or was it in person, right? All of those things will determine how you continue to communicate with her going forward. And then from there, your communication style. So is she a frequent texter? Is she more of a phone call person? Do you see her regularly, like at the gym or going out? Or is she at work maybe and you're seeing her every day, right? There's a lot of different ways that you'll communicate just based on how you're interacting with her from dates 1 through 5. A lot of guys lose them after 1, and that's normal. And the reason that is the first thing that she's attracted to is the mystery of you. That's so physically, you have to look appealing, at least somewhat, that she'll tolerate it, right? And remember, it's all about tolerance. Are you appealing tolerance? Were you charismatic enough to hold a short conversation with her and get her number in the first place? Or if it's a dating app or online kind of dynamic, right? Do you have enough similar interests in your profile that intrigued her to find out more? So it's a mystery. Before date 1, hang on to your mystery. Date 1 is usually the time where the mystery becomes unraveled and you guys talk about each other over dinner or whatever it is that you guys are doing. I personally don't like the traditional dates, dinners, and things of that nature. We can talk about that at another time of what good date ideas
definitely
would
a
be.
different episode, yeah.
But most of the time, date 1 is unravel the mystery. You find out more about her. Does she have kids? What does she do for work? Da, 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 right? All that stuff kind of gets laid out on the table. And a lot of time, that's the killing factor for men. It limits what they can do. It limits how interested she is because you're not meeting the standards of her expectations of the mystery. Going back to women get bored easy, she's curious about you. If you have an air of mystery about you, she will stay curious longer. And that's why women are attracted to the bad boys and the because they're wild and she doesn't know what they're going to do next.
Yes.
More
Yeah.
spontaneous, right?
Yeah.
If you have, so even if you lay it all out on the table, here's a good example. Date 1. If you can have fun doing something, perfect first date. Going to an arcade, mini golf, something where there's an interactive competition where you can kind of poke and tease her a little bit, but also flirt while doing so and laugh and have a good time and make jokes and show off that you have a personality. Perfect first date. Okay. Because you'll get that chance to learn more about each other, but you can also show that you're spontaneous and you're charismatic and you're funny.
Yes.
If she has a good time with you and she puts her head on the pillow that night and looks back on it and goes, I had a really fun time, that's going to carry it on. Now, the second part where people fumble is rushing things after that first date.
Yeah, we could probably talk about that for another episode, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll delve into it, but don't push her into sex. That's one. You always want that to be a natural occurrence.
Goes back to
Through-
that spontaneity thing.
Spontaneity through passion. Okay.
Yep.
She will be far more aroused
Yes.
if you're not discussing the act of intimacy and you're actually just acting upon it when the moment is right. So that's one. And then the other part is to avoid any of those value-based propositions early on.
Yes, I agree.
Right? So all of those religious and political and all those other things, don't bring any of that stuff up yet. The only thing that you should be talking about is how soon is our next date?
Yes.
Can we go tomorrow?
Yes.
Right? Don't wait a week because the longer you wait between dates, she's going to lose interest.
Yes.
And you also have to figure out what the hell to talk about for another week. And that's usually the killing factor for most people because
I agree.
it becomes, good morning, baby. How you doing?
Yeah.
And that is a killer of all relationships. It's the death of 90% of men. Don't good morning text a girl, ever, unless she's your girlfriend. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's just a terrible idea. You need to look busy. You need to look like you got up and you're at the gym and you're going to work and you're busting your ass and you're getting your money right and you're coming home and you might squeeze her in later on tonight. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying ignore her. Absolutely text her back if she texts you, and definitely text her. I usually say a good rule of thumb is 1 text before lunch to get the ball rolling, 2 after lunch, and then 1 before bed. So 4 through a day. That's it. Unless you're having a great conversation, right? That's different. But if you're not talking about anything and you're literally just keeping up appearances to keep up appearances, keep it at that. 4 texts. Hey, what you doing? Hey, when's our next date? You know what I mean? Are you free on so-and-so date? That should be your 4 texts, because you want to get around her as much as possible. You're building not just a text connection, but a physical connection.
You're building rapport.
That's right.
I think I said that word correctly.
Rapport, yeah, same thing, right? Silent T. But yeah, you're building it in a way that she is getting familiar with you. She's getting comfortable around you. You guys can start flirting with touches and that kind of body language, and that's something we can talk about another time. But you're building the connection physically, and you can only do that around the person. So you have to hasten the process of, let's go out again. What's the next most convenient time and make it work, right? Don't look like you have an open schedule either. I mean, because you want to look like you have a life.
You want to look like you have a life and you're busy and you're not just sitting around waiting for her to contact you.
But ask her, say, hey, when are you free next?
I think it's better in general to, instead of say that, I guess this is kind of be the last thing because we need to close out. But I think it's better to say, hey, I'd like to see you again on this day. I'm free. Are you free? If she says no, okay, then what about this day? If she says no again, then say, hey, okay, when are you free?
Yeah.
But I genuinely think that where women lose interest is they have the illusion that they're having to decide when you guys are meeting again or where you're going.
That brings up a very good point. Indecisiveness in men is a turnoff.
Yes, absolutely.
So if you can say, this is the date, this is where we're going, this is what's going to happen, and I'll pick you up on Friday, you win.
Yes, absolutely.
Because then you're not giving them the choice. You're not telling them that, unless they come out and physically tell you, oh, I have other plans already on Friday, this is what's going on, it's very important. Otherwise, if you are their priority, they will make the time for you and cancel the other crap.
Yes, absolutely.
So it just depends on how important you are. And if this is a whole nother topic we'll talk about another time, because I know we're definitely over here. But knowing when to stop and walk away.
Yes.
When she's not into you.
Absolutely.
So we'll talk about that. But I think that's a good point.
Yep.
We'll wrap it up here.
Guys, thank you. If you've hung on this long, we appreciate it. I know we've gone, we want to keep these to roughly about an hour. We've definitely gone over that this time. So if you've stuck around, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Drop a like, subscribe.
Check us out on everything.
If there's anything else that you want to see, or if you have any questions, specific questions, it can be to you or to just in general, drop them in the comments. We can discuss it on a later episode.
On whatever platform you're on, Spotify, YouTube, whatever it is that you guys are listening to us on, Rumble. Follow us on Instagram, DM me on there, or X. Either way, I'll get them directly, and I'm pretty quick at responding. So if you guys have a date coming up or something going on and you're curious for a quick question, hell yeah, let me know.
Yeah.
Gotta walk the talk and sing the rhyme. Confidence so heavy it stops time. Eyes on the prize, yeah, that's the line. Step in the room, it's my paradigm. Swipe right once, I've got the charm. Heart beats fast, creates alarm. In my zone, I calm disarms. Hand in hand, we light the stars. Speak like a boss, talk like a king. Words cut through like it's nothing. Swagger in every single thing. Crowd cheers loud, it's a winning ring.